Hi, Carolyn Elliott here. You're listening to The Alchemical Journey. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about alchemical community and what it is and what it can do and my own story with it. So I grew up sort of in occult, esoteric circles. My father took me all over the place to Wicca stuff, Druid stuff, and I grew up with the idea of magic, but it still was very kind of abstract and frankly dorky to me, okay? And so in my early 20s, I actually tried being a square. I tried joining regular Christian churches and doing that kind of thing because I wanted to fit in somehow into society, I guess. I don't know. But along the way, in my late 20s, I wound up involved in a group that practiced something called orgasmic meditation, which is a sort of streamlined version of Tantra. So if you look at Hindu Tantra, Buddhist Tantra, things can get very complicated in the traditional forms, but they were doing this practice of orgasmic meditation, which was a partnered practice that involved one partner stroking a lady's clitoris. And it was 15 minutes long, and there was a timer, and there were gloves, and there was lube, and there was this whole script and set. And it was a very strict container. It wasn't just like wild sex, although that did happen peripherally. But so I was involved in this group and doing this practice, and the group was really amazing in that there was a real vital understanding of magic there. Basically, everybody understood that the goddess, the witch force, is the orgasmic energy in our bodies, and that women can have an especially deep access to it. So this erotic, vital energy, also known as Kundalini, also known as Shakti. In that group, people gave me reflections and gave me feedback about, who I was and the nature of my power and how it seemed to operate, and, encouraged my desires and encouraged my boldness and encouraged these parts of me that nowhere else in the world were ever encouraged, not in academia, not in 12-step groups, certainly not in those conventional churches that I was trying to hang around. Not even in the hippy dippy lovey drum circles and Wiccan places and Druid places. They're just these, really intense kind of, sexual or power hungry, but also just really smart and really fierce and really funny parts of me that didn't quite seem to be celebrated or welcome elsewhere. This group could really see them, really celebrate them, really point out the magical depth and power in them, and that helped me so much. That helped me so much more than any books that I had read. Kind of helped me more than therapy to a certain extent. I mean, therapy was great for grief, but for other ways of embodying my creativity in the world, not as great. Anyways, I loved this alchemical community, and I learned so much, and I grew so much, and I became, I transformed from being somebody who was just really shy and insecure and broke, and I transformed into somebody who was powerful and direct and decisive and able to make a whole lot of money and able to travel the world by myself. And these vistas of possibilities started opening up for me, and I could see that it was very directly correlated with being seen and felt and heard and celebrated in this community in a way that I never had been anywhere else, in a way that I didn't even know previously that it was possible to be. And very sadly, that community dissolved. There was some really kind of funky, unintegrated scarcity shadow stuff going on with the leadership. And they were doing these really weird high-pressure sales tactics for these really high-end programs, and people were getting into hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt. Plus, there was definitely a cult aspect going on, in the negative sense, not just in the sense of a small culture, but in the sense of again, some like shadowy things happening with everybody being told that their true purpose was to be a messenger of orgasmic meditation, which is a real kind of warping of the idea of true will, because we all have very individual, unique true wills, and I don't know what your true will is, and nobody knows, what anybody else's is, but this group was claiming that it knew, that everybody's true desire, true will was to be a messenger of orgasmic meditation. Anyways, all this goofy stuff, and there were lawsuits, and it fell apart. And, I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about, like, what not to do when in charge of a group in a community. And like I said, I learned a lot of really positive, beautiful things from their direct kind of tantric teachings themselves. But I was really sad when that group dissolved, because not just for myself, but because now I didn't have any place to refer people to. I couldn't say like, oh yeah, if you want the same kind of transformation that I've been through, just go here and they'll help you out. And that was really frustrating for me. And I was, at the time I was coaching and I was doing online courses and trying to share as best as I could what I had learned. And I think I succeeded to a good extent. But it kept gnawing at me like, man, how can I give what I received to other people? And I think it took the quarantine, it took actually being forced to do some things on Zoom that I would usually only ever do in person before I realized, oh, it's possible to create this kind of alchemical community virtually. So that was a really interesting thing that came out of the pandemic and the lockdowns, for me at least. And Wealth, the membership program that my husband Taya and I run, along with other wonderful people who help us, it kind of came out of that, and it came out of me getting these inspirations and realizing the way that I could create virtual social events and weave community together to provide the same sort of experiences of being seen, felt, heard, celebrated in all fullness, in all darkness and sexiness and power and hilarity. To create that so that other people could enjoy it and benefit from it and grow from it. And it was also really important to me that it be, when we created Wealth, it was really important to me that it be very accessibly priced. Because again, in this community that I had been a part of, there were high pressure sales for pay us $50,000 for 2 weeks alone with the teacher in this special group. Nutty. I mean, not that there's anything inherently wrong with high-end programs. It's if you can afford it and you want it, great. But like I said, they were really high-pressure selling to people who couldn't afford it. And most people can't afford that, $50,000 for a 2-week personal development program. So my interest is in making a giant impact on the culture of the world. I want the whole world to know how to do the alchemical marriage, to know how to have knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit out of breath walking up hills and stuff here. Anyways, so we decided that Wealth would just be $99 a month, and that's the cost of it. And it's an initial 12-month commitment, and then we hope and we invite people to stay on after that. But it's very, very accessible. It's, it's not nothing. Like $99 a month isn't free. So there is an investment and a decision and a exchange of energy that goes in, but it's not exorbitant. It's not insane or out of the reach of a person working, a fairly normal job. So that's another part of the idea with Wealth, is that it be widespread, that it be accessible. It is an application-only membership, so we are selective. And I like to say, if you apply and you don't get in, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that we're probably not the best fit. That's my daughter, Lulu. I'm taking her for a walk in the stroller. But I wanted to share this about Alchemical Community because I see this a lot in people that I'm coaching and, just in people's comments generally in the sort of spiritual online circles that I run in, where folks are trying all of this stuff. They're doing various practices. They're doing, they're reading various books. And of course, that's awesome. And that's totally a part of what makes growth and change happen. And I know I have a little secret in my pocket that I'm trying to make not so secret, which is that if you are genuinely eager for profound change in your life, for profound change in your self-understanding, in your relationship with power and erotic energy and magic, you need community to do that, because the limitations that we have were socially embedded in us by family, school, conventional religion, etc. And there is not a way to, in a solo forum, change that conditioning. You need the new messages of, freedom and affirmation and embrace of your totality. We need those reinforced by other people. We need to be seen and felt in these fresh, enlivening ways by other people. So that's why Alchemical Community is so important. That's why I created one called Wealth, and you can apply to join it. There's a registration page or an information page about it at carolyngraceelliott.com/wealth. And if you happen to be listening in September 2020, the application to join is available from September 21st to September 28th. If you're interested, I do encourage you to apply because the program is going to fill up. So it's capped at 1,500 people, and we already have 500. So I estimate that we will get to 1,500 soon. So when I say capped, I mean it's capped for the next few years or so. Eventually I want to open it up for more people, but 1,500 is kind of a lot to handle and a lot to work with because we're trying to give very, very deep transmissions. So anyways, like I said, we're already 1/3 full, so we have 2/3 of our spots in the membership remaining before it gets closed for a good long while. So if you are interested and you are listening in September 2020, please go ahead and check out that page, carolyngraceelliott.com/wealth. And you can learn all about the program, and you can see testimonials. People are already having these amazing experiences, quadrupling and tripling their incomes and starting new businesses and falling in love and just having these beautiful renaissances and shifts in their experience via wealth and via the practices we do, the books we read, and most importantly, the Alchemical Community. So thanks for listening, and I'm sure I'll have more to say soon. Bye-bye.